Welcome to the We Like Sportz Show. I'm your host, Ed in Columbus, with my host, Keith Allen. How's it going, Keith?
Doing pretty good. How you doing?
Well, as we all know, I'm a big Browns fan, as yourself is as well. And it was a tough one yesterday, but we'll get into that. I guess, I want to say this, welcome to all our fans out there that, we like sports and, whatever sport you like or whatever team you like. We're glad that you joined in. But I want to say this, Keith. Today is the sports equinox. That means it's the only day in 2023 that all four major sports, hockey, basketball, baseball, and football, will be played today, and only the 29th time ever that this has happened. So happy sports equinox day to all those that love your teams and whatever sport. Hey, today's your day, right?
Yes, sir. You can watch all four.
All four of them. That's right. Also, there's sad news to report in the world of hockey. I saw this. This was reported to me by Peyton Vince. He sent this to me today, and then I heard it on the way home on WBNS, the fan in Columbus. But I guess overseas, they play hockey in England. That's good for them. I'm glad the sports, it's big around the world. But, in England, that they have a team, and the Nottingham Panthers, they're playing the Sheffield Steelers. Okay. But I guess Adam Johnson played for the Panthers, and he actually passed away. A tragic accident on the ice where a skate got him in the neck, I guess. Yeah, I know. When you hear about it, you just – my first reaction, what? And, with this being, spooky season and everything, I thought at first maybe somebody was just kind of, saying something. I guess it's the truth. And so prayers and everything go out to Adam Johnson's family. I guess he's from Minnesota, so he's an American playing across the pond over in England, playing hockey. And unfortunately, tragedy had struck him and for his family. So, yeah, I had to get that out there because, it is big news. And I guess what they're going to do is they got throat guards, I guess, in hockey. It was a long time before they actually got helmets in hockey. And whatever, he was played for the Islanders, and he never wore a helmet. You see the old footage of it, and I guess they're going to go to throat guards. Makes sense. You would think I would want to have a skate to the neck, but that's just me. But I'm very dainty and very weak to begin with, so I would definitely get all the equipment and padding possible out there.
Prayers and condolences.
Yeah, I know. I don't Keith, there's some things in life when you get a story and you got to break. I don't even know what to say about such a tragic event such as that. You see it in baseball, going back to when the Yankees and Indians at the time played, and there was a death or whatever when the pitcher hit one of our Cleveland Indians, and he passed away.
Back in 1920.
That's right, 1920. Yeah,
Ray Chapman got killed.
Ray Chapman, Ray Chapman, yeah. So that, obviously in any sport there can be tragedies. I just, I'd never seen or heard of something like that in hockey, but so I guess, like I said, prayers and condolences. You said it best, Keith, and I'm rambling on. So maybe it's time for me to move on from that one.
Yeah. Plus, it's Halloween time too.
I know, that's the thing. And I watch. Okay, so here's the thing. So I have Peacock, and I did watch that Five Nights at Freddy's. My son was into Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, they got him the toys back when he was like 5 or 6, the little figurines and things like that. But I had no idea what the movie was about or whatever. But I checked that out and I checked that out on Peacock, and it's a very strange story. And what?
It's weird.
Very
weird. I tried to watch it. I couldn't get into it. It's crazy. I haven't really watched no scary movies this year. During the Halloween season.
Okay, well, we'll do this real quick. What is your favorite? Give me top 3 scary movies of all time, Keith Allen.
Top 3 scary movies.
Your personal favorite.
Okay, I would have to say at number 3, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh yeah, got it, Freddy. Yep.
Number 2. Number two. It's this one, I cannot remember the name of it, but they went to this remote area, and dude was a clown.
No.
And there's a little town where they just terrorize people.
Oh,
I can't remember the name of it though.
Okay.
Oh man. And number 1, oh God, I had the movie right on my mind. Number 1, what I said, Nightmare on Elm Street for number 3, right?
Yeah, right.
Another movie would be number 2. And number 1, first Halloween.
First Halloween, Michael Myers, Jamie Lee
Very
Curtis.
first Halloween,
Yeah,
yes.
that was a good one. You can't argue with the classic right there.
I remember my father took me and my sister to go. We was little kids. We probably had no business going to see that movie, but we went to go see it anyway.
Probably not. I remember
first Halloween.
Wow. I remember my mom would always let me, watch Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, and I was probably about 6 or 7. Like I said, every parenting style is a little bit different. It made me grow up quicker, but nothing was as scarier than being a Cleveland Browns fan. So, having to deal with them every Sunday, you can't get much scarier than that. So she was probably doing me a favor, making me tougher. So shout out to my mom.
That's probably the Hall of Fame flick that keeps going on every year.
And it gets scarier. Every version of it. You think that the original is always the best, and with the Cleveland Browns, it's always keeps getting. I don't know if it's getting better, but it definitely is getting scarier. I will say that. But we do have a special guest on today, and I want to welcome him in a minute. Ashton Nix. We're going to talk a little bit of Rangers baseball in the World Series, and I can't wait. I got my Guardians hat on, and one thing about baseball, it's one of those things where if your team's making a postseason run,
I got a hat I could wear.
No, I know. No, we're not doing that. Yeah, I just want to say this. Yes, we all know, Keith, you are a Yankees fan. We're not doing that. We're not doing that today.
I got a hat I could wear.
We're not going to do that. What we will do right before.
Or I got a jersey I could put on for the month of October.
You don't have to do that. What we will do now. No. What we'll do before then is we'll get into some break. This is Eddie Columbus with your We Like Sportz breaking news. That's right. They say New York, a city so nice they named it twice. Well, yesterday, New York Jets versus New York Giants, a game so bad they played it in New Jersey. Reports are circulating that the University of Michigan has pulled a new contract extension to head football coach Jim Harbaugh amid the sign-stealing allegations. Don't worry, Jim. I know a place in Ann Arbor where you can afford to buy the hamburgers, but remember, cheese is extra. And finally, word out of La La Land is that Kelly Stafford, wife of Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford, is upset because at a recent Rams game, rapper Blueface brought in strippers into SoFi Stadium as part of his proposal to his girlfriend, Jaden Alexis. Hey, Karen, Kelly, making it rain beats watching your husband throw for meaningless yards and a loss. Guess you won't be invited to the wedding. And this is Eddie Columbus with your We Like Sportz breaking news.
Otherwise,
that one.
Otherwise, Jim Harbaugh will be in the league next year. In other words.
That's right. Well, without further ado, let's bring on our special guest. Talk a little Rangers and World Series. Welcome to the show, Ashton Nix. What's up, my guy?
Hey, guys. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Ashton?
You tell us. You got to be excited because the Texas Rangers are once again back in the World Series, first time since 2011 when they went back-to-back in 2010 and 2011. And I will say one thing. I remember watching the World Series, David Freese. I know that's probably a name that's people. Yeah, know what? I remember watching that. They were one. The Indians were 2 outs away in 97. Still breaks my heart. October 26th. That's a day that will live in infamy in my sports realm. But I know you guys were. I think it was 1 pitch away, basically, from winning it in 2011.
Multiple times, yes.
Yeah, so that one's got a sting. I remember Ron Washington being your skipper and everything, but you got a pretty good one in Bruce Bochy. Brought him over, got 3 World Series titles with the Giants. I don't think you could have found a better candidate to take over that managerial job. So you know what? You're the expert on it. You tell us about the Texas Rangers. They got game 3 tonight. Give us a little preview. Tell us how excited you are and anything you want to tell us about the fandom of being a Texas Rangers fan.
Well, yeah, you hit the nail on the head there with Bochy. That's people ask me what is the difference. I mean, is it, adding the pitching and the production you're getting from your rookies or whatever it is? Yeah, that all plays a part, but I think the main difference in this team is bringing Bruce Bochy on. Not a whole lot of playoff experience on this team outside, of course, Scherzer has it and Seager does, but a lot of young guys, a lot of new guys that I think Bruce Bochy has been able to put this team together, especially in how this season has gone, where they'll win 15, 16 of 20, and then they'll lose 10 to 12. and then they come right back. There were multiple times during the season we thought, okay, well, they had a good run. We knew they were probably a year away from this, and now we're seeing the real Rangers. And then they just come back. They're just so resilient. And part of that is twice during the playoffs. One, when they lost the division on the last game, the last day of the season, and we thought there's no way they come back from that. At least they made the playoffs. We'll see. And then they drive all the way to Houston without losing, go up 2-0, and then lose 3 straight. And we thought, okay, that's it. At least they made it this far. They're going to make it, late into an ALCS, and then they on the road go to Houston, win games 6 and 7, and hopefully we don't have anything else they have to be resilient from in this series, but you never know. But yeah, we're really excited here in Texas.
Well, we want to thank you, as a Major League Baseball fan, the fact that you guys took down the Houston cheap stros, as we call them, that was nice, but you're right, to lose the division basically on the last day to them. And then, that heartbreaking loss. And what was that, game 5, or when they hit the 3-1, Altuve hit the home run.
Altuve, it being Altuve made it a little worse. And what was funny is no other game in that series that I can think of was even close. Rangers were blowing out the Astros.
Right.
The Astros were blowing. It was that one game, and we thought, we had it. And it had to be Altuve to do it too.
Yeah,
but
all of them.
All of them. I'll say one thing too, with Texas now going to Arizona to play. Do you guys feel like the Rangers are just more comfortable playing away from Globe Life Field? Because it seems like, in the Houston series, obviously you win games in 6 and 7 on the road, but you guys have not been exactly at your best at home, and you guys seem to go on the road, and you especially your offense, you guys definitely dial it up. I think it was 11 runs in the 9. I mean, you guys definitely bring out the sticks when you go on the road, and hoping that translates over to Arizona tonight. You got Scherzer on the mound tonight, so what do you expect tonight? Some offensive fireworks, or you think it's going to be a close game, or low scoring, I should say?
Yeah, I think we tend to do better in the high scoring games. Low scoring is a little, more comfortable, but at the same time, I think our bats have been able to do a lot better of keeping up with our pitching, giving up runs rather than vice versa.
Right.
As you saw in game 2, we just couldn't get anything going. And then the pitching just couldn't hold out. But I don't know what it is. It's just so illogical that they just do so much better, or they have been doing so much better on the road. Right. Globe Life Field is a hitter's park. I mean, technically, so you wonder why, but outside of this series where you have home field advantage, or you had home field advantage, you're kind of thinking that this is a good thing. But now I don't know what to expect. I mean, they still have not lost a game on the roads.
Right.
Let's run with it. As Scherzer goes, I mean, I'm excited to see what he can do. He's been struggling, whether it's say, hey, he's getting older, he's coming off injury, whatever you want to say. But I think, you can see that first game he comes back. Any other pitcher who's not at Scherzer's level does not even come back in the playoffs.
Right.
You just say, he was ready. I don't think you give the time and give the simulated games, which are not close to real games, but any other situation, you're like, yes, it's time. Let's move him on. But you typically don't have that go to, hey, it's game 3 of the ALCS. Let's go. So there's a lot of intensity there. But he had a rocky first start. His second start, back from injury, there was improvements. And I'm thinking through this bullpen, you already used Eovaldi, Montgomery. Yeah. I mean, there's nobody else. I personally would rather use than Scherzer right now.
Okay. What I guess tell us about I love Adolis Garcia and what he's done and what he's brought to baseball this postseason. Can you talk to our audience about the energy he brings to this Texas Rangers lineup and what he's meant for you guys? Because he's been the heart and soul, and obviously we saw that in game 1 with the game winner and and everything. And it's just so much fun to watch him just kind of put his name out for, because I'll be honest with you, and especially with baseball, if you would ask me in the 90s, I could name 5 players from every team, and nowadays with baseball it's a little bit harder to, name me a team. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But he's definitely taken the spotlight and run with it this postseason. I think that's fun. So let our audience know about what kind of player he is throughout the whole season, but especially in the postseason, what he's meant for the Rangers.
Well, it's nice that he's getting that national recognition now, right now. Here in Texas, I mean, he had an outstanding rookie year, nearly winning rookie of the year that time. He was favored most of the year. He obviously has a big bat. His nickname El Bombe, you
Love
think
it.
is like a bomb, hitting bombs, but it's really
Right.
light bulb. It translates to light bulb in Spanish. Funny enough, that's just been his nickname for so long. And a lot of people are kind of learning. I never knew what that meant.
I didn't either. Thanks for educating me.
I didn't learn this till last week. That's what's fun about some of these players when they're good. They're. I wouldn't call him a household name in Texas before this series.
Right.
But if you're a Rangers fan, you knew him.
Okay.
He's kind of been on the uptick. You got him from St. Louis for nothing. And then it's fun to get these names that you've seen for years and years, or the last probably 3 years, and now they're in the national spotlight. And it's just fun. Outside of Seager, Simeon, DeGrom, Scherzer, it's fun to get some of these other names on our roster out there.
Wow. I mean, like I said, talk to us also too. Like, have you been to Globe Life Field?
Yes.
Okay, because okay, so here's the deal. So in Cleveland, I remember in 1994 when we opened up Jacobs Field, you guys opened up the ballpark in Arlington. And we're doing some renovations on Progressive Field now, as it's called. And then you guys just got a brand new stadium, But is it basically was the reason why you guys got that brand new stadium in Arlington was because you guys need a roof on your stadium in this hot summer?
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. They've been talking about it for a long time because the ballpark, I call it the ballpark in Arlington still, but even now it's really not that old. It was 1994, you said.
Yeah, it's not even 30 years old.
Yeah, and they looked at putting a roof on there. They looked at extending the roof so you would have more shade, and for whatever reason, when it came down to it, it was going to be nearly as much to build a new stadium. So that's what they thought. Let's just build a new stadium. And that's what it came down to. And the vote for it, ironically, came the same year that the Cowboy Stadium was paid off by the taxpayers. So they thought, well, let's just not change anything. Let's just keep it was sales tax and something else added to it to pay for this stadium. And, personally, I like the old stadium better.
Okay.
It's a beautiful stadium on the inside. The outside,
yeah, it kind of looks like
like
a warehouse.
It looks to me like a closed grill.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
I think it's going to age horribly. It does not look quite like the renderings. It was supposed to be like a translucent glass roof, which kind of has issues too with the Texas sun, but. Either way, it looks a lot uglier outside, but man, I went to that game, a couple of games last year. It was nice. It was right in the middle of August. It was 70. Ironically, it was when there was a lot of power issues. So that we were being told to, so it wasn't 72 degrees. They had it up to 76 to help with that, but it was still I'd never been at a baseball game in a domed stadium, and it was nice.
Okay. What a question? I know with Houston and Dallas and things like that, the two different areas. Is it a big rivalry with the Astros and Rangers, like between the fans? Obviously you guys are fighting for the division the whole year. You got Texas, same record, but you lost out because you lost the head-to-head, and then you play them in the ALCS. So what was it like between was there a lot of smack talking between the fan bases and everything, or how was that? Was that kind of fun to and especially beating them as a Rangers fan, to beat them? And like I said, thank you on behalf of Major League Baseball for doing so.
Yes, sir.
Really, before this year, it wasn't a huge rivalry. I'll just go out and guess that the Rangers and Astros have never been to the playoffs at the same time, because obviously before this year, since 2017, when the Astros won the World Series. Yeah, Rangers hadn't made the playoffs since 2016. So we were on the downtrend, they were in the uptrend. So we were kind of like baby brother to them. And before that, it was the exact opposite, because in the early 2010s, the Astros were so bad
Right.
And the Rangers were going to the playoffs in a couple of World Series. And that's kind of how it's been back and forth, is one team's pretty good, the other team's not so good. And neither team, until the Astros won a couple of World Series, are really big baseball. You know, these huge markets. I mean, Houston and DFW are 4th and 5th biggest in the country, right behind Chicago and LA. But for baseball, we just hadn't had that success until the Astros finally broke through and won a couple of World Series. So going into this series, there was, and even up until the end, because we kind of gave away the division. And I saw a bunch of memes going on like, hey, here's Globe Life Field. It's free to play in the playoffs because the Rangers aren't going to be there. And a lot of back and forth, which I'd never seen. Like, I have an Astros hat. Like, they kind of been like my second team most of my life. And now all of a sudden it's kind of fun. It's this rivalry back and forth. They're calling us South Oklahoma. We're calling them
nice.
Armpit of Texas.
Nice.
We've had the rivalry in football and a little bit in basketball too, because the Mavericks and Rockets have been fairly successful. But it's a whole new avenue we're going down. It's pretty fun, and I'm glad that the series went to 7 games, win or lose.
Right.
Of course, it's better to win, but it was a fun series to deal with, and knock on wood that both teams are really competitive next year. It's going to be really fun as well. And hopefully we have a World Series.
Right.
Now that's what they're saying as well.
Right.
We have 2, y'all have none. So,
What would a World Series mean to the Dallas-Fort Worth area? Like, I mean, because obviously you've had the Mavericks win. The Cowboys haven't won since '96, but it's always going to be a Cowboys. Just like in Cleveland, it's a Browns town, and the NFL kind of rules.
Cowboys,
but what would obviously with all the near misses that you had in 2010 and 2011, obviously, what would it mean for the Dallas-Fort Worth area to have that World Series? Because I, as a Cleveland Guardians Indians fan, it breaks my heart losing 2 Game 7s in '97 and 2016 in extra innings, the only franchise to do that. So I'm still waiting since 1948. My parents were born in 1949, so they even missed the boat by 1 year.
You're a full generation off.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I saw what Boston did after 86 years, and obviously the Rangers, they've never won World Series, but they're on the precipice of doing so. So what would it mean for the Rangers and the city itself? Because I'm always for it's one thing about the organization. The players are rich and the owners are billionaires, and I get that. But what does that mean to the fans, especially in area? That's what I'm most particular intrigued about.
Yeah, it's the only major sport that we don't have a championship in. I mean, and they've all been relatively recent. The Cowboys in '96, but most people remember the Cowboys winning and being Cowboys for the most part are pretty successful, making the playoffs a lot and winning a lot. It's not like the Rangers where they'll go on a 5-year stretch and then they'll be off, Right. And the Mavericks, it was a big deal because before that, there were a lot of Mavericks fans. It was a good, a good team because they had been to the playoffs like 20 something straight years. And then they finally break through it. And then we saw a little bit of it because it's hard to see now because it kind of came out of nowhere. And now a bunch of Rangers fans are coming, not necessarily bandwagon fans, but people who are Rangers fans that just aren't diehard baseball fans coming out.
Trust me, I know.
To see it. Yeah. You know all about Yankees fans too.
Yankees fans, Guardians, Indians fans.
I think that's about a lot about cities and stuff like that. You get that civic pride, but also too, like, maybe not, but they want to support their city and stuff like that. And I always say, hey, the bandwagon, the more the merrier, because
that's what I'm saying. That's what makes most of the fans, because you really only have your diehard fans when your team sucks.
Right, exactly.
And only few. I mean, the Cowboys, the Yankees, the Lakers will still sell out even if they suck. But most teams don't. But we got to see, because after they made the World Series in 2010 and got the hype going, they came right back in 2011. It was ridiculous, selling out every game, and even it stretched on to 2012 and 2013. They were still making the playoffs. And obviously in 2011, that was devastating.
That breaks my heart for you guys.
If it would have been like 2010, where we were here, we lost in 5 games. I don't think this year, because this year people keep talking about 2011. Beltray came out and said, man, if they win the championship, that'll make up for 2011.
Wow.
A-Rod is cheering for the Rangers right now.
Wow. Nice.
It's
all I remember,
it feels like it's time to go ahead. Sorry.
All I remember about 2011 is because I got people that stay in St. Louis, and they was rooting for St. Louis, and they asked me who I was rooting for. I was like, I'm rooting for Texas,
Yeah.
American League. Can't stand the Cardinals. And then every time when it seemed like Texas had them on the ropes, was about to deliver the death blow, these dudes come back like Jason. Or Freddy Krueger.
And it was Freeze both times with key hits, and Nelson Cruz not making. I mean, a very difficult catch, but really, it was. What's devastating about that is like Josh Hamilton's legacy.
Oh yeah,
because he had a pulled groin in that. He'd pulled his groin in that game and stayed in and hit a 2-run home run. I don't know if it was in the 9th inning or extra innings, but he
could barely get around the bases.
Yeah. And if they win that game, Josh Hamilton has the game-winning home run, likely the MVP.
I was just
injured. His legacy's just cemented, and unfortunately for him, it didn't work out much longer after that. So that's another one of the obviously not winning the championship, but it's like shaking up a Coke bottle, and you're just waiting for it to explode, and it just it came out of nowhere, and we're hoping this year we can get over the top.
So what what were the expectations? Now I saw like in the ESPN Power Rankings, they had like you guys 16th and Arizona was like 21st or something. Like they went back and showed kind of what the preseason kind of predictions were. But you and then maybe talk to us about like what the DFW area thought of what the Rangers were going to be this year, because obviously I don't think anybody thought World Series, but it's baseball, you never know. But so I mean, what were your realistic expectations? And then what are your expectations in these next couple games in the World Series?
My personal expectations were before the season started, I said there were 82 to 85 wins and maybe sneak into a playoff spot, depending how everything goes. I mean, honestly, not that I was being, hey, one more year they'll be in the World Series, but I was saying, hey, they'd be serious contenders in about a year. Because they go from losing 100 games to they get Semien and Seager. And they actually improved more that year than I thought they would. And then they go from 70-something wins to 90 wins. You don't really see jumps like that. And really, they didn't get any superstars outside of DeGrom, who obviously didn't have a huge impact. But you have Josh Young come up and just pretty much play out of his mind. Corey Seager was injured a lot this year, but he played out of his mind. Semien had, led the league in hits. He's struggling now, but he played great. You had 5 starting all-stars, 8 total. They played out of their mind, and it's not even like everything went like it should have, because Young even was injured, and there were injuries that led to us going out and getting Scherzer and getting Montgomery at the deadline, who turned out to be huge. Obviously, there are pieces here now that if we had them at the beginning of the season might have changed. But I think most people were like, yeah, it's a stretch, but I'm hoping they make the playoffs. And then they made the playoffs. And then, although we kind of expected them to win the division at that point because they'd been up all year, as soon as they swept Tampa, I thought, okay, of course I want them to go all the way, but I think that's a successful season. Because going to Baltimore, I'm like, Baltimore's the best team in the AL. I don't know how this is going to turn out. Compete, look good till next year, kind of. But they're playing with house money now, and it'd be disappointing if they lose. But right now it's just exciting. They have a lot of young players, and even more in the farm system coming up.
And you know what's crazy? I was telling Ed, I was like, truthfully, only teams I feared, like say if the Guardians or Yankees would have won, was really Texas and Houston. I didn't really fear Tampa. I didn't, because Tampa, their main guy was out due to his troubles.
Yeah.
And I didn't fear Baltimore as much because they're young.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's either Texas or Houston, for real.
Well, I like teams that can it's just like in the NFL where.
And I didn't fear Minnesota either, so.
I like teams that can hit the cover off the ball, and I think that's what the Texas Rangers can do. And they, like I said, to your point, they got a lot of young cats that can just do that. Go out there and who else can put up like 9 runs against the Houston Astros in Game 6 and 7? Like, I mean, who does that? The Texas Rangers did that, And I think that, and that's why I think I had them to win the series. Now I think it's 1-1. I think losing
1-1.
game 2, I think you guys got them where you want them now because all you had to
You're on
do
the
was
road.
Now we have road field advantage.
Yeah, road exactly.
Right.
You got the
And
one.
ain't
You
that
got
for
the
the
one
next
game.
3? Ain't that for the next 3 games?
Yeah.
Ooh, wait.
Yeah. So we were talking before, and I wasn't, I was talking on one of our other shows, and not trying to be cocky or anything, but if we expect them to win, we were hoping that they come back in Arlington and do it. So that'd be game 6 or 7. And I don't want it to go to 7, to have that,
Yeah,
that pressure. But that's what I was thinking. It's like, well, they can lose 2. And that's what I said when they lost game 2. I'm like, well, that's one more, we want them to win it in Arlington, right? Just trying to stay positive. But no, if they can just go win the next 3, win it in Arizona, I'll take it.
Go jump in the pool, win it in game. You know what I'm saying? Game 5,
I'm
go jump in that pool.
I'm gonna be honest. The Rangers shut me up because I thought they was done when when Altuve had beat them in game 5.
I did too. I thought that was so heartbreaking.
I thought they was done.
How do you come over that? That's so demoralizing and everything. But Bruce Bochy,
and after the Adolis Garcia drama. And really, I think that was Dusty Baker's genius, getting thrown out and just waiting in the dugout and kind of just changing the whole momentum. I don't know if that's what he planned on doing, but ever since that happened, it's either going to go one of 2 ways. You're going to get energized because Adolis did all that, or the Astros are going to get energized. And as soon as they did that, I thought it was over too. I'm thinking they're not even going to win game 6. That's it. But to their credit, they're a resilient team.
Very, very resilient and very fun. Now, are you a big Cowboys fan or anything? Or
yes,
okay.
I am.
Well, because this is not
I'm a level-headed Cowboys fan.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know anybody who dislikes me for that reason, at least not to my face.
Okay. My man.
I understand. There's a lot of Cowboys fans that drive me nuts too. So.
Well, what are your thoughts about Dak Prescott? Is he underrated, overrated, or just just where he needs to be? Because
it depends who you're asking. Because I know a lot of people that think he's one of the best quarterbacks ever. I know people who think he's trash. I think he takes a lot of hits because he's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Put him in the exact same if he has the exact same success and struggles he's had, in Cincinnati or some other place, I don't think people really, will hate on him. He'll be pretty. Personally, he's an above average quarterback who can play out of his mind, can be a top 5 type talent. But typically when you average all out, he's probably like 10 top quarterback.
Okay.
And this team, Dak's good enough to win with the team they kind of have built around him, where you have a good defense, just like we saw the other yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, today's Monday. Just like we saw yesterday, he can take over a game if he needs to, but you can't rely on Dak to lead your team and win a Super Bowl. But he's good enough. He's good enough as a quarterback, where if he's not the main reason you're winning a Super Bowl, he's definitely capable.
Okay. Well, what's your defense in Micah Parsons? I would say that you got complementary pieces and play complementary football, where, like you said, basically don't screw it up. And I think that
you play the 49ers and the defense screws it up, and that's why when you have to come back, if you tell Dak, hey, we're down by 20, we're down by 25 points, come back, that's when you're going to see the interceptions go up, the turnovers. If the defense can handle it, I mean, Dak can protect the ball. I mean, outside of last season, he's known for protecting the ball. Like his touchdown interception ratio aren't that bad. And then last year, something happened. I don't know. I'm not going to say it wasn't his fault, because every quarterback, you can take a percentage of the interceptions and say receiver didn't catch it, he ran the wrong route, because it's part of it. Last year, just some weird anomaly, and it looks like outside of the San Francisco game, you asked him to come back and be aggressive, but it seems like he's kind of taking care of that a little bit better this year.
Yeah. And also, I got a question. Do you think the Cowboys will make a move by tomorrow ahead of the trade deadline?
I don't think they're going to make any crazy moves. They might make a couple of moves, maybe get Pollard some help because Pollard, I think, works better in a 2 running back system.
I know a guy they could get.
What's that?
Who's that, Keith? Who you throwing out? I know.
Derrick Henry.
Oh, you think? Oh, I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, that has been rumored.
Man,
I don't know. I don't know.
If they get Derrick Henry, they'll be probably playing Philly in the NFC Championship this year.
Yeah, that's the thing with Pollard is, as a second back, he was great, averaging 6-7 yards a carry. But then when you make him the main guy, you just have to see, and he's done all right this year. But that's my main thing. If they're going to go out and make a move, it would have to be for running back because that's really your only big flaw. Where Jerry Jones typically doesn't finance the future and give up picks for unless it's a huge move, and that would be a pretty big move. But I mean, the Joneses all said that they're not going to do anything, but that that could be negotiating there. Yeah,
you know how that goes.
You never know. Yeah, absolutely. You're not going to trust them. I mean, I just think Dak's rookie year with Romo, they all said all year long, it's Romo's team. When Romo's ready, he's coming back.
Did.
Of course, what are you going to say too? But and you see what happens. So I wouldn't be surprised if they made a move. I'd be surprised if they were able to get Derrick Henry. I just don't know how much you have to pay for that for a running back who may be on his last leg.
They want a second round. They said they want a second round pick, but I think maybe a third will get it done.
So.
I don't see
because Henry a free agent after this year, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because you'd have to re-sign him.
You got to re-sign him.
I just think Henry is almost there because running backs don't last very long, and he's the amount of carries he's had the last couple of years and the production he's put in. I can't imagine him being great for that long, that much longer. And then plus re-signing him, and we know Jerry Jones and re-signing running back.
Right.
I don't know if we even want him to get Derrick Henry and sign him to a 4-year deal or something.
No. Jerry's got to pay for his Botox. He's got other things.
He would be the piece that could put them over the top.
I think he would.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
good Lord.
The defense has had a couple of bad games, but I still think that defense is a top, 5 defense, if not better. I mean, they've played like historically great this year, even without Diggs.
No, I was about to say that major blow to that.
Yeah, and the offensive line has been all right. You have a lot of weapons. The receiving core. I know people say trade Dak. That's not going to happen anyways. Even if it was worth it, it wouldn't happen. You'd owe him too much money. That's just unintelligent thinking. But yeah, you could make a quick upgrade at running back.
Now, let me ask you this. Who do you got next Sunday, Dallas or Philly?
Oh man, I can't pick against the Cowboys after they've won a couple of games. It's hard for me. I wouldn't be surprised either way. They always play close games. Even when you have Hurts was hurt for one game, Dak was hurt for the one game. They didn't even play against each other, and they still played well, even with backup quarterbacks. I'll say the Cowboys just because the Eagles have been struggling the last couple of games, and the Cowboys are kind of getting some momentum back. But it's in Philly too. I always pick before the season. I say Philly and Dallas will split.
Okay.
They always do, except was it 2 years ago or was it last year? When they
it's an anomaly if they don't split.
Yeah, they'll split, and usually it comes like they'll win on the road. Both teams will win on the road. I'll take Dallas by 3 because their rookie kicker, just hasn't missed a kick yet. So I say he gets a couple of kicks and wins it for him by 3.
There you go. You heard it first on the We Like Sports. Take the Cowboys.
Yes, sir. Yes.
How about them Cowboys?
Man, I hope so, because after San Francisco, everyone's jumping off the bandwagon. If they can go to in Philly and beat the Eagles, I think they're going to be saying Super Bowl. Not me, not yet. Right. But I'm a level-headed Cowboys fan. Right. Well, in public, like I'll have it in my head thinking they can go all the way, but I'm just not going to go out and say it.
Dak owe us a deep playoff run.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you a Cowboy fan?
Yes, that's my second team.
Yeah,
He's like LeBron. He likes the
That's
Yankees. He likes the Cowboys.
No, I like his reaction. That's what everyone's reaction is. Yeah, I'm a Cowboys fan.
That's my second team because I've been like that since elementary school.
Yeah, I'll say about Cowboys fans though, because there's probably more bandwagon fans for the Cowboys than most teams.
True.
But the real Cowboys fans are the most loyal fans. They have to be. Haven't won in nearly 30 years. And I may not have a lot of confidence in them sometimes, but I'm a Cowboys fan regardless. I can't
Ashton, I tell people all the time up here, I tell them, I was like, Cleveland and Dallas is probably the two most tortured fan bases in football in the past 30 years. If you really think about it, Dallas hasn't done nothing since 96. The Browns ain't done jack, truthfully, since
64.
Since Bernie and them.
Since technically because this Browns is technically an expansion team.
Yes.
That's what I say. I was there. I know they switched the history around and gave it to Baltimore. But yeah, since this new Browns team, they really haven't done anything.
Which I want to say this to the NFL about the histories and things like that. What I saw yesterday, and I'm not talking about Will Levis's 4 touchdowns, good for him and everything like that. But those Houston Oilers uniforms and colors, they belong in Houston. They don't belong in Tennessee.
I did a whole podcast about it. Not about that one particular, but we talked about it, about relocating teams and what history goes where. Honestly, I don't care that you say Cleveland is an expansion team or isn't the expansion team, but they had the owner, the front office, the coaches, the players, everyone went there. And honestly, I think they should have just, there was a lot of politics involved why they left and why they came back. But I think for Cleveland Browns fans to be as crazy as they are, I mean, any home game for the Browns, you think they're always in it. You don't think that they're more than likely 1-8 or whatever the record would be. But to truly grasp how bad it's been for those fans is look like they'll say they haven't done this since this year. Since this year's like, well, it's since they were the Baltimore Ravens were there. So it's really they got the expansion team and haven't been able to do anything. And it's just gut wrenching because they haven't since the 80s. They haven't really been competing, right? Maybe the early 90s.
Yeah, they had 1 year in 94 where they made it, but that was it.
Yeah, and then Baker Mayfield has your one playoff win since then. Yeah,
that's one thing about Cleveland is, and I'll say this: it's just like being a Cowboys fan. We could be boring. We could be horrible and just not win and be like, like when Jacksonville was bad and they're just boring. And I know they're up and coming, but you have all these teams that are just boring and they lose. The Browns and the Cowboys are TMZ. They are always drama. They are entertainment. Whether you like football or not, they are always in the news. There's always something. Even when they lose, it's still worth watching because of the drama, that swirls around the team. So I'll say one thing: sports is entertainment, and there's no two better franchises when it comes to the National Football League than the Browns and the Cowboys. Like I said, it doesn't translate into Lombardi trophies, but it sure is good fun entertainment. And when you speak of Baker Mayfield, we have the Baker Bros, and now we got the Watson Warriors, and everybody. One thing about in Cleveland lately is maybe you see it in Dallas. Like it seems like in Dallas they just pile on Dak, and everybody seems like the consensus is it's easy to hate on Dak. In Cleveland, no, that's not the case. Baker, everybody will go to bat for Baker. Could murder somebody in the street in broad daylight, and yet people defending him. And also too with Deshaun Watson, he hasn't played $230 million. And said he could also go murder somebody in the streets, and people would still be defending him. In Cleveland, we love to defend our quarterback, even though it's been mid-level play since Bernie Kosar. And yet I don't understand it. I kind of wish we were more like Dallas and with you guys. And even when Dak has a good game, I'm sure there's people on the radio calling in saying basically he's a bum and everything like that.
Yeah.
So
well, there's a split in Cowboys fans, and Dak didn't have the benefit of the doubt because he took over for Romo.
Yeah.
And not one person, I don't care what they say, not one person would say put Romo in that game at the time. And I think it was the Packers when Dak's rookie year when they played in the playoffs. nobody would have said brought Romo back. But hindsight's 2020. You look back, you're like, hey, if you'd have brought Romo back, maybe they make a deep playoff run and win the Super Bowl. So ever since then, it's been Dak versus Romo, and then all of the Romo lovers and Dak haters still now will say they've never had Dak on their side. And then there are people who like that will defend Dak no matter what.
Right.
And Dak not the type of quarterback that TMZ's going to follow around anyways. He's very generic, boring, a great guy. He's not going to do any of that scandalous stuff. But because he's, like I said, if he was playing for Jacksonville or Cincinnati or Seattle or something,
right,
we'd be like, okay, it's a good quarterback. Well, it'd be like Kirk Cousins. Like,
yeah,
that's what I compare him to. Like, I mean, there's a knock against Kirk Cousins, but nobody really hates Kirk Cousins unless maybe you're from Chicago or Green Bay or something. But because he's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, he just gets ragged on incessantly. So I typically defend Dak more often because I think he gets a bad rap like that. I'm not saying he's the greatest quarterback in history of ever, or even the Cowboys, or is he better than Troy Aikman? He's got the stats in like completely different eras.
Right.
But Dak does get piled on more than he probably should. And then when he goes out and beats a team he should against the Chargers or the Rams, they say, it wasn't a good team.
Oh, they'll dismiss it basically.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, you can't crap on him when he does terrible and then not give him,
props when he does good. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, well, yeah, that was good, but he did this and he overthrew him and he caught up, or, it's like, come on. Nobody does this for any other quarterback outside of maybe that hometown does, rags on that quarterback. But from a national standpoint, Dak gets it worse than anybody.
I don't know. Watson running a close second up here.
Well, he's
that.
I mean, from my perspective, I don't hear anything bad about Watson.
Up here the thing
but
is.
But then again, I'm hoping, I was disappointed that Houston got so much for him because I thought he was pretty much done anyways. Houston kind of dodged a bullet there.
Yeah, they got CJ Stroud. I went to the Ohio State University. That's my alma mater, and I am so proud that CJ Stroud is finally doing the Ohio State University proud in the NFL ranks when it comes to quarterbacking, because the knock on Ohio State quarterbacks they usually are not good, like a Justin Fields.
Hey, I'm a Longhorns fan. Same.
Okay, all right. So you got
great quarterbacks, but they don't. Vince Young might be recently the best NFL quarterback who had one good season.
How do you think the Ewers kid, who formerly
we had him at Ohio State for a little bit, now he's down there?
How do you think his game would translate to the NFL?
It's hard to tell. I think pretty well. He's one of the quarterbacks where, if you have a Johnny Manziel type, where he's just running all over the field, just by far the best player on the field, those players don't typically translate. It's kind of like the mid-level guys, and Ewers will have great games, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh man, he's completing 80% of the passes. He has 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. It didn't even comprehend it. It's not like you think, oh yeah, that's a great game. You have to look at the stats after, like, it's pretty good. And then of course he'll have some bad games or whatever. Injuries might be a problem.
Yeah, he's still hurt. I think he's gonna be out another week.
Last year he was only supposed to be out a game or two, and I think he missed 4 games. I'm concerned that as a Texas fan, with Arch Manning sitting in waiting.
I was going to ask you about that. Why are they not playing him over? Is it Malik?
Yeah, well, Malik is very, very good, as you saw if you watch the game. He's a very competent quarterback. He's been there, he's been there for years. I think the Manning thing might be, hey, if he didn't play whatever the certain amount of snaps is, he still can redshirt, which I don't think matters, because I think after 3 years he's gone anyway.
Right.
And that's what I thought Ewers was, and now he gets hurt.
Yeah.
Like if Ewers comes back, just like last year, he wasn't great right after the injury. He kind of got thrown off. Is Ewers going to leave and go to the NFL? That was the idea. Is Arch Manning sits, Ewers plays, Arch Manning comes in for another 2 years. I don't know how that's going to go out, but I think Ewers will. I think it's going to see Colt McCoy might be a better example, where he wasn't quite able to make it as a starting quarterback. He did have some decent starts, but he was definitely in there as a backup quarterback. I think Ewers is better than Colt McCoy, which
He
kind of
has a
sounds
strong arm. He has a
sacrilegious
strong
to
He has
arm.
a stronger
say.
arm.
Yeah.
Colt
Yeah.
McCoy.
He might actually be a better pro than he is a college football player. He might be. I'm not saying he will be, but he has the potential. He has a strong
Yeah,
arm.
I think his game, if he can, it's difficult when you have injuries back-to-back years like
Right.
this. I mean, stuff could happen, and you're like, just with quarterbacks, similar injuries with your shoulder, it kind of gets in the back of your head. But if he comes back, he's strong. I don't think he's going to have any issue in the NFL, especially if he comes out this year and he's not going to be number 1 overall like Caleb Williams. If he's kind of like a mid-round, like maybe a 3rd-round pick in a good situation, I think he'll do fine. I don't think he's going to go out there and win 3 or 4 MVPs and win a few Super Bowls.
No, but like I said, he might not start until maybe his 2nd or 3rd year, and that might be even better for him too. So.
Yeah, like an Andy Dalton type career.
Yeah,
Andy Dalton was a really good quarterback.
A
lot of playoff appearances. Never made it for the Bengals, but I mean, you start, like, how many years did he start? 8, 9, 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a competent quarterback if you can last
that
long.
And it all depends where he lands in the draft and what team he goes to.
That's what I'm saying. It's hard. You go number 1 overall when you're a quarterback, which I like. I know the Cowboys didn't intend to build like this, but they were building an offensive line for Romo. And then they get Dak, and Dak gets put in an amazing position of having the best offensive line. He had some weapons. They had a decent defense, where I'm thinking, if you're a bad team, draft everybody else, because if you draft a quarterback first, then you have to build around him. By the time you get things rolling year 3 or 4, now you got to pay him $45 million.
And you don't even know if the quarterback's developed because he's just been getting murdered for the first 3 years. Yeah, I'm with you.
And then when you draft some of these quarterbacks number 1 overall, they might just get put in a position where, hey, you give them a few years. If it's not working, trade them away and start over.
Right.
When like, well, you're playing for the worst team in the NFL. It's going to take some time. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying Bryce Young. I mean,
yeah,
you'd have to give him some time. If they, I know they won last week, but
he looked better. Bryce Young looked better yesterday. They beat the Texans or whatever and beat CJ Stroud. So he won that head-to-head matchup. He actually did look more competent and had 2 touchdowns and everything. And I like to see these young quarterback classes coming. You have to have at least 2 or 3. The NFL needs to start building. You look at the 80s, and I always go back to the golden era of quarterbacking, and you had Troy Aikman come in 89 and everything, but every team had a competent quarterback, and they did for 6-7 years on that same team. And it seems like the NFL, we need to start getting to the point where every draft class you're getting 2, 3, 4 of these good quarterbacks, these young quarterbacks, and they can stay with their team, and you can build your fan bases that way. Because as a Browns fan, I've seen plenty of bad quarterbacking play over the years, and that's why this Deshaun Watson thing doesn't work out. I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's kind of like you see these teams, and it's just like the struggle is real. You look at the Bears with Justin Fields, and you're talking about that. And I thought the Bears should have actually traded Justin Fields or do something. And I think they got to move on from him, And I would rather. Here's my say. I guess what I'm trying to say is, when you look at somebody like Marvin Harrison Jr. for the Ohio State Buckeyes, you have a team that's drafting number 1, so they're bad. They got a lot of needs and everything like that. I would rather go with the sure thing, and take a player that is going to be good for the next 10 to 12 years than drafting a quarterback number 1. Because even Caleb Williams from USC, I don't know if Notre Dame can make him throw 3 interceptions and make him not look good. What is the NFL going to do to these quarterbacks? I mean,
Notre Dame was a precursor of the pros for Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
that was like a wake-up call.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of these quarterbacks, they put up these stats against bad teams, and it's just like every Sunday in the NFL, there's not really a bad team. I mean, there's some defenses way better than others, but overall, the schemes are more sophisticated and things like that. So if you're a quarterback that gets stuck in South Bend, going to Baltimore or going to Dallas or going to Philly, how's that going to work out for you? I'm all for taking the sure thing and then maybe getting your quarterback, even unless it's a sure thing, unless it is Peyton Manning or somebody like that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Terry Bradshaw saying something like, if NFL was like it was back then, he would have never had a career, because his rookie year, I don't remember the numbers, but it was something like 10 touchdowns and 20-something interceptions. And
John Elway was the same way. He wasn't that great his rookie year.
And people act like I think Chicago's a great example. I don't know if he's the guy or not, but they act
He's
like,
not.
well,
He's not.
well, he's not yet at this
He's
point,
not.
but
Yeah.
you act like, well, if you put Tom Brady in there, Peyton Manning, or if they had a competent quarterback, it would all work out great. And that's just not the case.
Right. They're a bad team for a reason. They got a lot of bad
Yeah.
players.
And plus, you
Yeah. I
gotta
mean,
look at it. Brady wasn't Brady at first. He was just a game manager at first.
yeah.
Right, but he had they had the right. The point is this:
He
if you
had
don't
the
have
structure
that around
around
him,
him.
you
Yeah.
can't even be a game manager if you're scrambling for your life and you don't have,
Yeah.
So that's
And
my thing.
like Chicago been trash for the last 5-6 years, for real.
Yeah. Well, they got the number 1 pick. I think this year they're coming
Yeah.
up.
They can
Probably
get Harrison this year.
It's junior 2 or whatever. I know they got a top 2. They got that pick or whatever they traded for. So they'll have a top 5 picks probably if things work out the way that they have. And so I say take the sure thing, like Gus Johnson say Maserati. Take Maserati Marvin.
Yeah. That's how my Madden team building mind works. Like on Madden, that's how I'll draft my quarterback last in a great situation, and you have a quarterback on his rookie deal. But
Yeah,
I mean there's a reason I'm not working as a GM for a team.
Well, some of these GMs, you see them, and I wonder, they spend all that time with all the scouting and stuff, and you're thinking to yourself, if we just put it on auto draft, you could do a lot better than what some of these GMs. I think they try to be too cute and try to overthink it when you should just take the best player.
At the same point, GMs are working on like 5 years into the future. You can think, okay, trade back, let's build a team, but in 3 years, I may not be working here anymore. I have to splash now. I have to get that quarterback, because teams are so terrified of not having a quarterback. And I think, I like Dak as our quarterback. I think he's a franchise quarterback. But I think Jerry Jones was terrified of that period between Troy Aikman and Tony Romo, where you had nothing. You were throwing out Vinny Testaverde and Brad Johnson.
He had one good
year.
Drew
Henson.
But
Drew
I'm a big
Henson
Testaverde fan because in my days in Cleveland, he had one. He took us to the playoffs. So I can't see.
And Drew Bledsoe was in there.
Yeah,
Romo took over.
Bill Parcells.
You think Dak Prescott is the guy?
Yes.
You're probably not telling him for negotiating.
No. You're terrible.
But
Dak.
we have to. Jerry Jones is thinking we have to keep him no matter what, because we have a decent team, and we don't want to go into the abyss of drafting.
You don't want to the Cleveland Browns from 1999 until you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah, the Cowboys nearly drafted Johnny Manziel, and he was kind of thought of as a pretty sure thing.
Yeah. As a Browns fan, I like the Johnny Mania. I don't care. I met him. He was at the Brown and Orange scrimmage at Ohio Stadium. I don't know. I look this way. He won a couple regular season games, and then Mike Pettin benched him for was it McCown or whatever like that. And look, I say this: I don't care when you draft a quarterback. If you draft a quarterback in the first round, and he wins you a game, you don't bench him the next week. You keep playing him. I'll never understand that.
Well, there's a lot more to go with that with Johnny than
Yeah, you know what? Win or lose,
if you watch his documentary,
I did.
He didn't watch.
There's a whole lot.
So really, I think that was more impressive, that he was able to function a little bit as an NFL quarterback and watch no game film.
The fact that he didn't any film study, he partied like he did. You know what? I'll give him, like you said, I'll give him credit to Ashton, because for him to be somewhat competent and do things that I could never do that. I'm sure none of us, I'm saying, for him, I don't know. So I'll give Johnny credit, and hopefully
I could go play high school football. Stadium's right behind here. They could put me in that system. I don't think I could be a quarterback. Not even the skill set. Like, I don't think I could run a game.
Yeah.
Because you have to know, not only know what plays are, you have to know what everybody does on every play.
Yeah.
Like, not to mention watching film and preparing and making a game plan. Like, no, I'm just going to party and show up hungover and play professional football.
Right. He had a couple wins, and I don't know. I look at some of the Browns quarterbacks we've had, and he wasn't the worst. I'll tell you that. He wasn't the worst. So, shout out. I got to ask you before we let you go, Dallas Mavericks, Luka, and how's the Dallas Mavericks season going to go?
Hopefully better than last season.
I
don't know. I mean, the talent's there. I think for most of the season they were 5 to an 8 seed. I mean, they were going to be a playoff team, and then up until the last week, it was like a 90% chance they were going to make the playoffs. and I think part of it was we realized the Mavericks realized they're not going to do anything even in the play-in game. So they lost the last couple of games, potentially tanking on purpose.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
so they could keep their draft pick because it was top 10 protected.
I don't blame them.
and keep that, realizing, hey, we're kind of mediocre. Let's reset. And they did get Lively, who looks like he could.
Yeah,
it looked more like a project player when you drafted him, but he's had a couple of good games.
Better than nothing.
Yeah. And I think the whole Luka Kyrie thing early on was like, whose teams is it going to be? It's not that they're fighting for that spot. It's like they're like, no, here, you take them. And it even cost them. I don't say cost them a game, but it cost them an opportunity to win a game at the end when they kept passing the ball back. Somebody take a shot, and they didn't get a good shot. Yeah. But Luka has made it known early this is his team. 30-point triple-double to start off the season. 49
that one
the
shot
other night.
He made this crazy shot I saw where he kind of just flung it up or something. And made it that was nuts.
Plus, him and Kyrie can coexist together. They just got to run it like how Kyrie and LeBron did it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how Jason Kidd has their minutes running this year, but I know last year it worked well where Luka comes out a little bit early. And Kyrie plays the whole first quarter, and then Luka plays doesn't play the first couple of minutes of the first quarter, but the entire game, outside of injury or anything weird, the entire game, either Kyrie or Luka is on the floor. And for most of it, they're both on the floor. And I like that. But even, like the last couple of drives the other night, he'd scored all the Mavericks points, 4 straight threes. Wow. And even that last one for the game-winning shot, he couldn't get a shot, so he passed it off and then got it back and then still couldn't pass it off. Like, his idea was, I'm making the shot. Now, down the road, is that an issue for Kyrie? I have no clue. It seems like, hey, it's going well now. And I'm 100% convinced it's going to end badly one way or the other.
You're probably right.
Just hopefully that's a couple years down the road. Maybe we have a championship. Like, it's always Kyrie. It always ends.
Think about it. If Kyrie said himself with Cleveland, it was primarily him.
Yeah.
Well, at least he's taking ownership. I give him that.
I mean, it may not be as bad as, the divorce with Boston was, or even
that was
or
worse.
even Brooklyn. Hopefully they can keep that, under wraps. But if you could, win a championship out of it, I mean, it definitely makes it worth it. But yeah, at least let it sit there a couple of years.
With Kyrie, he thinks the earth is flat, so as long as you don't run off the earth, you're good.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of managing. I think that's Jason Kidd's role, is like, let's just manage it, keep him happy to an extent. Kyrie seems to like his role. He knows it's Luka's team.
That's cool.
But at the same time, when he got traded, there were all kinds of, controversy with the books thing and flat earth, and he wasn't a hot commodity, so he might be thinking, okay, let's just fly under the radar, let's play well, let's not because when he got traded to the Mavericks, we didn't know where he was going to be. His contract was hey, either the Mavericks have got to give me or another team has got to sign me, so for my benefit, I better behave well.
Toe the company line for a little bit, Kyrie. That's
and it's worrisome, but he has been able to do it for other teams.
He's like I said, I think he's the best ball handler since Isaiah Thomas, and the things he can do with the the left and the right hand, and he had those videos with the mic.
I'm not convinced that this is just the perfect situation for him. It's not going to go badly. It will some point. Let's just hope they can get something out of it before it does.
I'll say for the Mavericks, for them to extend, Derek Lively gonna have to do his thing down there.
Well,
yeah. I mean, you just don't have any competent big men.
Yeah, he's
to do anything. That's their problem. Yeah. He's unfortunately he's going to have to do that here early in his career.
Yeah.
I like the pick, but I was thinking, and it looks like they're using him a lot more than they did Wood last year. I know Wood would play well when he came in the game, but he would only, Kidd would only play him 12 minutes or something like that. Just wouldn't play him a lot, but Lively seems like he's able to. It's very early 2 games, but you like what you see from him.
Yeah. I'll tell you what didn't go bad was having you on, my friend Ashton Nix, on our show
been
today.
Fun. I like this.
Really good. But tell us and tell the audience where they can find you at, because I got it scrolling underneath, but it's always better to hear it in person for our audio, so that everybody know where they can find Ashton _Knicks.
Yeah, search that on pretty much any social media platform. I have a pretty uncommon name. It's, I'm going to pop up if you search Ashton Nix, or all of our, I have a podcast and a couple of shows at Peak One Sports. If you want to search that, you can find me as well.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Like I said, we'll have to have you on when the Rangers win the World Series.
Or we're going to have to have you
dude.
on.
As soon as they win the World Series, if that happens, I'm messaging you. Say, get me on next show.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like I said, and then you can rub it in, and then I can start crying because my
I said I was a level-headed fan.
Series.
I'm not wearing any Rangers gear. I'm like, let's just, give intellectual answers here. But if they win the World Series, I'm coming out.
Go Homer. Go
Rangers gear.
100% go Homer.
I'll be full Homer. I can be that annoying Cowboys fan.
Yes, be that.
I'm just
be that
like,
guy.
there's no reason to be it. But if the same, if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, you're not going to be able to stand me for a couple of weeks.
Or we're going to have you on if we have that dream matchup. Dallas versus Cleveland in the Super Bowl.
There you go. Well, that's really it.
He's like, no, let's
just worry about the Rangers first.
They both got the defenses. They both got the defenses.
That's true.
We just got to get our QB situation together.
Yeah, we'll worry about Rangers, Arizona.
Yeah,
basically a 5-game series now.
Game 3 tonight. Let's go Rangers. Let's go. Let's bring it home for Texas. That's right. And I always tell my son, there's only one state flag that flies just as high as the American flag, and that is the Lone Star State, the state flag of Texas. So, and I always like Walker, Texas Rangers. Shout out to Chuck Norris. That's good stuff back in the day. So,
always shout out to Chuck Norris.
Thanks for coming on, Ashton Nix, and we will talk to you soon. And go Rangers.
Go Rangers. It was fun. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
All right, Ashton. Have a good one.
See ya.
See ya.
Awesome, Keith. Awesome, Keith. Okay, so you know what? I had him on longer because guess what? He was a great guest, and you know what? I always, when people give good answers, I let him on because you know what? One thing about I always say this about kids these days: they don't know how to talk. They get on social media and things like that. So I always appreciate people that are good orators, as one would say. So we got to pay the bills. So we got some things to do, Keith. I know we got 24 minutes before Mad Mondays, correct? Shout out your show.
Oh, actually, no Mad Mondays today.
No Mad Mondays. Okay, well then we'll get it going because you know what? I may want to eat dinner today. So then we'll do
that.
We'll do that. So
need to. So
there's nothing wrong with that. So what we'll do is we'll pay some bills right now, and how will we do that as I'm stuttering over my words, but we will do it with Dubby. That's right. It's Dubby time. You want an energy drink that you can mix at home that doesn't give you the shakes or the jitters or make you crash. If so, then try Dubby. Their products have no calories, no sugar, no maltodextrin. Like I said, I have no idea what that is, but the fact that they don't have it, probably a good thing. No fillers and no artificial colors. Dubby has great flavors such as Dragonade, Galaxy Grenade, Beach and Peach, and Dub Sludge. Right there, get that Dub Sludge right there. So head on over to w.gg and use the coupon code We Like Sportz to get 10% off your order. So you want to do that. Also, shout out to @OfficialLeague. Like I said, got great hats. So you want to check out @OfficialLeague. And then the Snooze You Lose podcast. So don't forget to check out the Snooze You Lose podcast with Uncle Joe, the Black Bookie. He will get you set for this Sunday Snooze You Lose pick of the week. So like I said, who doesn't want to have a little bit more money? So head on over to the Snooze You Lose podcast with Uncle Joe, and he'll get you set up and hopefully make that more money. So, and also Titan Nutrition, because if you're looking for a good protein product, then head on over to titannutrition.net/We Like Sportz. So there you go. There's the housekeeping right there. And also, like I said, we need to go around the NFL. So we're going to go around the NFL in a very, very fast manner today. Okay, so let's do that.
Okay.
So what we'll do is I'll say the games. I'll say about one thing, and then you give your thoughts about it, and then we'll move on. So Thursday night game, we had the Bucks and the Bills. Bills won 24-18. Baker Mayfield with a Hail Mary at the end. It came up unanswered. I thought it was weird. My friend at work.
You know what? He could have caught that ball if he had.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Godwin or whatever. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'm glad we're thinking the same thing on there because like nobody looked at it, but he could have caught it. So all right, we'll move on to the Cowboys beating the Rams 43-20. Like I said, as Ashton Nix or fine guest said, Dak looked good. He had 4 touchdowns, and one fun stat from that: Deron Bland had his 3rd pick 6 of the season. So you don't see that too often.
He took over from where Diggs left off.
That's correct. All right, moving on. Titans 28, Falcons 23. Like I said, that was the Will Levis game where he had 4 touchdowns. Yes.
Houston Oilers.
Yes, and I was about to say yes. So they throw back uniforms
Houston
yesterday.
number
Will
one.
Levis.
Man, them uniforms is fire.
I know. Every time I see those, I'm like, reminds me of the Warren Moon days.
It reminds me of the Earl Campbell days.
Or okay, you going back? Okay. All right, nothing.
And Warren Moon too, though. Don't get me
fair.
wrong.
Yeah,
man.
All right, we'll go down to Saints 38, Colts 27. Derek Carr, he rebounded, had 310 yards and 2 touchdowns in a game that probably, unless you're a Saints or a Colts fan, probably didn't pay attention to.
Hey, is Jameis Winston available?
Oh, I was about to say, Peyton Vince, shout out to Peyton Vince with a little break-ed news right there. There are reports out there that the Minnesota Vikings are looking to maybe acquire Jameis Winston from the New Orleans Saints.
We need to be trying to acquire Jameis Winston.
Famous Jameis and his crab legs. I'll take that. Moving on to the Patriots 17, Dolphins 31. Tua had 3 touchdowns and looked good. But here's a fun stat about that game. Tua is now 6-0. Also, Jalen Ramsey came back and had an interception. But Tua 6-0 against Bill Belichick.
Wow, ain't that something?
That is okay. Like
Bill
I said,
usually feast on young.
I know exactly the fact. Right. I don't know. He must have that magic.
I think it's that left. I think because Tua's left.
It's that left. You get some confused.
It's that left. He throw Bill off right there.
When Bill's looking at the tape, it throws him off. He does everything backwards, and it doesn't work out. I guess I don't know how that works out. But like I said in my break-ed news, you had the Battle of New York. Like I said, they did it in New Jersey. That's how bad this game is. Jets did win 13-10. What happened?
That was an ugly football game.
Ugly game, but here's what happened too, because I was reading about this game. I actually was watching it, but I was kind of flipping back and forth. But on a 4th and 1 play late in the 4th quarter, the Giants were on the Jets 17-yard line. Daboll opted to go for a field goal. Okay, they missed that field goal. It led to the Jets getting the ball and then going and getting the game tying, and then obviously the game winner in overtime. But like I said, enough about bad football. We're used to it in Cleveland, unfortunately. Moving on to the Jaguars beating the Steelers 20-10. Only thing I can say is the Jags' 5th straight win. Kenny Pickett got hurt in that game, and what's his face came in. The Myles Garrett helmet guy, whatever took the helmet to, had 2 interceptions on that one. Mason Rudolph.
You're talking about Mason Rudolph ended up playing too, or was it Mitch Trubisky?
Oh, was it Trubisky? My bad.
It
was Trubisky. That's right. Yeah. That's right. The mentor product from Northeast Ohio.
Yeah, Mason Rudolph put his check out. He had his helmet on like he was going in. I must have Myles Garrett on my mind. It's spooky season, and I was just thinking, okay. But you know what? That game reminded me of both the Pittsburgh-Cleveland game in September, and the Pittsburgh-Baltimore game this month, where Pittsburgh was in it. The only difference is Pickett got hurt.
That's right.
This time, where he didn't make a big play at the end like he did against us and he did against Baltimore.
Well, Keith, as I said, that Spider-Man, that meme where they're all pointing at each other. When you got Mason Rudolph, Mitch Trubisky, and Kenny Pickett, it doesn't really matter who. If I got it wrong, does it really matter? It doesn't really.
And plus, it's funny, the refs swallowed their flag when dude planted Barry Pickett into the ground.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Well,
damn, they ain't calling that.
Well, they must not like the kid.
Wow. No, next.
Next, Eagles 38, Commanders 31. Jalen Hurts 4 touchdowns. A.J. Brown 2 touchdowns. Sam Howell had 397 yards and 4 touchdowns in a high-scoring fest, but the Eagles got it done. And like you said, they played the Cowboys.
Yes, sir.
That should be a good game coming up. So
yes.
Battle of the rookie quarterbacks. Like I said, Bryce Young got the win over C.J. Stroud as the Panthers won 15-13 on a time-expiring game-winning field goal by Eddie Pinheiro. Bryce Young led him down the field, so that was nice to see.
Well, nobody watching us, people.
But nobody's like you said,
nobody watching.
All right. Like I said, before we get into what you're going to talk about, I won't go into too much. But yes, the Seahawks beat our Brownies 24-20. I'll say this: Browns D showed up late in Seattle, being down 14-0, and I think they checked out 2 minutes early, letting that final drive. They could at least held them to a field goal. They didn't have to give up a touchdown. I do think that was a DK Metcalf holding on that. It's Jackson Smith.
Yes.
That was holding.
And the ref swallowed the flag again.
Even DK Metcalf looked at the ref like he thought he was going to be called.
He knew he got caught.
He knew he held him.
Got caught late. I was like, "Damn, y'all ain't throwing the flag." I said,
"Yeah." Even Metcalf thought he was should have been.
I guess the ref said, "Screw you, Cleveland.
They
You
did.
blew it.
They did. Ravens 31, Cardinals 24. Now the Cardinals come to Cleveland this week. Gus Edwards 3 touchdowns for the Ravens. Like I said, that's why the Browns needed to win this, because the Ravens keep winning.
You know what's crazy about the Ravens? The games they lose, you be like, how in the hell do they
like that Colts
do this?
game? Yeah.
How do this team ever lose?
I know.
I was like, how did this team ever lose? But give the Ravens credit. They went into Arizona, probably had a little letdown because they had a little letdown, but they got the job done.
They do what they're supposed to do. They win the games they're supposed to win.
And remember what I said, these last 3 seasons. When Lamar is healthy,
they win.
They're in first place. They win.
And when they're not the Bengals, then win. So speaking of the Bengals, they went to San Francisco. 49ers have lost 3 in a row now. But here's the scariest part for Cleveland fans, Baltimore fans, and Pittsburgh
Cincinnati
fans.
done won 3 in a row.
Cincinnati's won 3 in a row, and Joe Burrow looks pretty healthy now. He scrambled around and made a pretty 7-yard pass. Now, it was only a 7-yard pass, but, I mean, he was scrambling, running, dodging, and stuff like that. So I think that calf looks pretty healthy, and I think the Bengals might be poised to make a run. But to your point, if Lamar stays healthy, I think it's the Ravens division. But if not, those pesky Bengals are all going to be on their heels.
Man, Cincinnati would be in my top 10 on Wednesday. I'll say that.
I would say
they're entering, and another team is leaving.
Well, stay tuned in for that, because that's always fun. Chargers 30, Bears 13, Herbert 3 touchdowns, and not much to say about this game.
Dude, Staley would have got fired if they lost.
If they would have lost, yeah.
They better have won.
Yes. Let's preview the Monday night matchup real quick. Tonight we got the Raiders at the Detroit Lions. Lions 7.5-point favorites. Garoppolo may come back and play this, but here's the fun stat of this. Raiders have failed to score at least 20 points in 7 of their past 8 games. Talk about offensive futility. Didn't they hire Josh McDaniels because he was supposed to be an offensive guru?
That's what you thought.
Yeah, that's what they thought too, and it's not getting done. So, anybody that watches that game tonight, I mean, like I said, there's game 3 of the World Series. I mean, I'm going to be tuning into both. But
NBA basketball on
NBA basketball and NHL. Like I said, it's the sports equinox today.
All 4. Yes.
There you go. So we went around the NFL. That's always fun to do. But
you got one that you did forget about. Kansas City losing.
Oh, I did. Oh my gosh, I did forget it. Thank you, Keith. You know why I forgot about that one? Because Kansas City wants to forget about that one. I believe that Patrick Mahomes
and Denver trolled them, leaving out playing a Taylor Swift song at the conclusion of the game.
Yeah, I guess supposedly Aaron Goldhammer on ESPN Cleveland today. He's a big Denver fan. He's from Denver.
He's from Colorado. So
he said Patty Mahomes might have had the flu or something, because he wasn't buying into his Broncos turning the corner. And I know Russell Wilson had 3 touchdowns, but I wouldn't say this is the ascension of the Denver Broncos. But it was a good win. Good win.
Think about this: if the Browns had Russell Wilson's production, Browns would be Super Bowl contenders.
I'm not hearing this. So would it be Browns country? Let's ride. Would it be Browns country?
Who knows? But he's actually played well. The defense in Denver went to hell.
That's true. You're right.
He's actually did what he is supposed to do.
Well, thank you, Keith. Because you can't go around the NFL unless you hit the Kansas City Chiefs at the Denver Broncos, and what was a nice upset. So thanks for that one, Keith. And like I said, anytime we can mention Taylor Swift, always. You know, hey, we got people just like the NFL. We're not stupid. You mention Taylor Swift, and you get more eyes on you. You know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, it's time. Let's do this, because we were talking about the Browns and the Seahawks, but it's time for another rousing edition of For Real. Keith, take the mic.
I'm gonna say this. You will see a lot. The Browns organization, front office, and Jimmy Haslam are going to show you, the fans, if they're really serious about winning or they're just jacking us off as usual. Trade deadline is coming up. We need a quarterback, because they have to go in business as though Deshaun is not coming back no time soon. They have to. That injury that Deshaun has, that rotator cuff, isn't going to all of a sudden do a magic healing. It's not. It's not. And you got to find somebody in case he can't go. And honestly, I don't see him coming back till December, maybe January, late November, December. Because think about this. If they don't make a move and get a quality backup, and if we still have to ride with PJ Walker, this team will be 4-7 before you can blink.
Just like Jacoby Brissett was last year, 4-7.
There's a difference, though.
Okay.
The Browns' defense was horrible and deplorable last year.
Yeah.
This year, the defense done gave them a fighting chance.
That's true. And the special teams is better. Special teams way better.
And think about it. We're 4-3, and we done lost the turnover margin in almost every game, except maybe the Indianapolis game.
Yeah. And the Tennessee game, I think. Maybe.
Yeah, I think we had 2 turnovers then, too. Yeah. And like I said, PJ Walker, got my utmost respect and everything, for real. But you can't keep turning the ball over. Do you know our quarterbacks done equated to 90% of the Browns' turnovers this season?
Well, speaking of one in particular, when he missed David Njoku and threw that interception, first off, I'm thinking to myself, how bad to the left did you miss that? And then another thing, too, that was 3 points we missed right there, because if that's an incomplete pass, we're in field goal range. Like, there's things about that his turnovers, or they're taking points away, and that's what I have a problem with.
And also, like I said, Jimmy, you went all in with the Bucks and got Damian Lillard. Go all in and get us a backup goddamn quarterback.
Yes.
This shit is ridiculous. And I mean, nothing against PJ Walker, but Kevin, you get a little bit of blame too. 3rd and 3 at your 40, what is it, the 44, 45, 41 yard line, 3rd and 3?
Yeah.
With 2 minutes left, Kevin, you got Kareem Hunt. You got Pierre Strong.
Right.
You got Ford. Run the ball. Run the ball. If you don't make it, your kicker, your punter has been spot on all season.
Yep.
Putting people back at their 9-10 yard line.
Corner coffin time. Coffin.
Yes. And then the defensive field lifted, but right then you put the defense in a bad position.
Yeah, I think your word was better. I think your word was better, Keith. More accurate.
Yeah. I'm trying to be what's the man?
Hey, for real. That's the for real right there.
You put them in a fucked up position. And even though the defense, it was still like 55, 60 yards, but you killed the momentum.
It was demoralizing. They
looking like, you mean to tell me?
Here we go again.
And I said this point yesterday on Locked On Sports on the pregame, because I did like a 10-minute quick pregame. I said, no turnovers. If the possession ends in T, F, P, which means touchdown, field goal, or punt, it's a win.
It's a W.
What do we do? 3 turnovers.
T.O. This ain't Terrell Owens. This is not Terrell Owens. This is turnover.
All on the quarterback. All 3. And then on top of that game, PJ Walker should have threw for about 350.
Yeah.
Because he missed receivers that was open. He was already predetermined where he was going to go with the ball. The one pass, and I said this to myself, when we was tied at 17 and we took the field goal to go ahead, I said to myself, Elijah Moore was wide open up the middle. Wide open. and you threw in a double coverage of Cooper. But the ball really, if the DB would have been looking, it should have been intercepted.
Right.
And I said to myself, 3 points ain't going to get it done against these dudes. They're going to have to score 7. Then on top of that, what defense had they plays? If Mitchell catches that pick 6, that's ball game. Geno Smith is done after that.
That's
done. Done. But honestly, I'm going to say this. Kevin called a good game up until that last play right there.
That is for real,
until that play. He called a good offensive game plan until that play. And I was like, Kevin, you got... Now, if you had Deshaun in there healthy, I could see you doing it.
Right.
But...
Know your personnel.
You didn't have Deshaun in there. You had P.J. Walker. And he can barely see over the line.
Does P.J. Walker, no, this is for real. Does P.J. Walker make Kyle McCord look accurate like Peyton Manning?
He makes Kyle McCord look like Tom Brady out there.
Ooh, for real?
And I ain't even shitting on Kyle McCord because I actually
right.
And I actually really think, which is going to be a shame, you're going to really see the best of McCord probably in the playoffs and next season.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Maserati Marv ain't going to be there next year.
That's well, and that, like I said, that is the for real
But
right there.
That front office need to get on their job. They need to get on their job. Andrew Berry, Jimmy, D. Podesta, what the fuck are y'all doing? Get on your job. Get us a backup quarterback. Goddamn. Get Tannehill. Shit. Get Jacoby Brissett if you can. Try to get Jameis Winston if you can. Get somebody in here competent. P.J. Walker's a nice guy, but it's not sustainable, dude. We'll be 4-7 before you blink if he got to be quarterback.
End it with your 2 famous words. For real. Keith, that was great.
Sir.
That was
Thank
great.
You.
I love your rants. Like I
Jimmy,
said,
get on your fucking job.
I throw red meat out there, and you're eating it like a lion right now. So here's what we're gonna do real quick. We're gonna hit on these topics, and we're gonna play our game real quick.
Okay.
I made notes, and okay, so let's do this. All right, we're gonna do this. We'll go Timehop. We'll do Timehop real quick because you're good.
And I got one more thing to say on this. Let me go to Timehop. Because I'm telling you, if the season goes off the rails, everybody worried about number 4. Talking about number 4 don't want to be here. But trust and believe, number 4 is going to be here. And he'll probably be the only person you recognize next year.
Wow.
Because you better be worried about 95. You better be worried about 21. You better be worried about 0.
Well, we're worried about Timehop right now.
You better be worried about 24. Let's go to Timehop.
Timehop 2004, because that's Casey's favorite year. The World Series in 2004 was between the Cardinals and Red Sox. What edition of the World Series was it? What, like, how many World Series had it been up until this point?
Oh shit!
And it's not like it was a 77th World Series. It's a major number here. It's a major number. It's a
100?
round number. It's a round number.
Is it 100?
Yes, it was the 100th edition of the World Series. That is right. How many?
I'm gonna be honest, I completely guessed that one.
Yeah, well, hey, you completely guessed it right. How many Hall of Famers played in that series or were a part of that World Series?
2004, Big Papi, Pedro.
Yep.
Kurt Schilling.
No.
Kurt Schilling went on the Red Sox then?
But he's not a Hall of Famer yet.
Oh, damn, he's not a Hall of Famer yet?
He's still missing it because I think people don't like his views. They think he's a weirdo. I mean, that's the truth. Two of these guys, I don't actually. One of them's a manager. One of them's a manager.
Tony La Russa?
Yes, Tony. Wow, good catch with that one. And two of them, one of them just got in recently as a third baseman. That helps.
Third baseman.
I don't even know if they should be. I don't know. These two, right? One of them is from Canada. If that helps too.
Who played for Boston and Canada? No, who played for?
These are both Cardinals now.
Both Cardinals?
Yep.
Who played for St. Louis back then in 2004? Well,
you got 3 out of 5. So for time's sake, it was Scott Rowland and Larry Walker.
Wow.
Yeah, I know that's the thing. And I know Scott Rowland just got recently in with it.
Yeah, he just got inducted.
Yeah.
That just shows baseball. And nothing against Scott Rowland. Congrats to Scott Rowland.
Right.
But baseball, get off your high horse. You got Manny Ramirez. You got all these other people.
Pete Rose. Sorry, but
Pete Rose. Come on. It's like, come on, baseball. Get off your high horse. Because a lot of y'all writers do old fucked up bullshit too.
That's correct.
Y'all probably trick in everything. But got the nerve to determine just because a dude might have used steroids, but steroids brought back the game because the game almost died.
Chicks dig the long ball, but everybody else did too.
Exactly. The game almost died. From that strike in 94, the game almost died.
That's right. That's right. Well, let's hit up some college football talk real quick. So we had the Michigan sign stealing thing. Now, I guess it's been reported that, like I said in my breakhead news, that a contract offer was extended. Now, I don't know if it was extended to, but it was in the works. And I guess they pulled it back from Harbaugh. OSU survived Wisconsin and they only got Rutgers, Michigan State, and Minnesota before their clash with Michigan on November 25th. So that'll be fun to see. Obviously, we had Georgia winning over Florida in the so when they play in Jacksonville, what is the nickname of that game? It's the largest blank party.
Gosh.
They always mention it. So it was a trivia question the other day, and what I'm saying. So it's the largest blank party when Georgia and Florida get together. Kirby Smart wants to get rid of this game. They've been playing in Jacksonville since 1933. But
I was about to say they've been playing in Jacksonville for the longest.
Yeah, right.
In that game. But damn, I forgot.
It's the largest cocktail party.
Because I hate SEC football. I do.
Well, you know what's funny about that? When they play at a neutral site, you can't bring in recruits. And that's why Kirby Smart wants to bring it back to – I did not know that. Yeah, and he wants to bring in his five stars.
Home and home.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Exactly. So I did not know that.
That's why.
Yep.
Because he might lose a recruit to Florida here.
That's right. That's right. So also Kansas, I watched this game. This was on Fox and FS1.
They beat Oklahoma.
They beat Oklahoma. But what's fun about that one was after they won the game, the Kansas fans took the goalpost down and they threw it in a lake. I thought that was kind of cool. Because it was the first time since 97 they'd beat Oklahoma, and the first time since 84 they beat a ranked team or whatever like that. So good for Kansas and the Jayhawks. And
congrats to the Jayhawks.
Yep. And now my biggest question for the college football talk that we're doing is, now the college football playoff the rankings come out tomorrow. Who do you, Keith Allen, have in your top 4 for the initial pairing?
Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, and the Ohio State University.
You know what, Keith? Are you reading my notes? Because I had the same top 4. Now it may not be that. Now from what
might not be that order, but
that's who I believe because they're undefeated right now. I think Ohio State actually might be 1 when it comes out. So, but no, Keith, we're thinking alike. Great minds think alike here.
Yes,
great minds think alike. We had the NBA tip off. So last night we had the Kings beat the Lakers 132-127. De'Aaron Fox had 37 points, so that was fun to watch. Dame and Giannis, I guess they're still learning because they got crushed by the Hawks 127-110. What else is new? Denver's 3-0. But I want to talk about this. Cavaliers right now 1-2, blew like a 9-point lead to Oklahoma City when the final minute and a half. Was it my bad. It was even worse than I thought. So talk to me about the Cleveland Cavaliers.
It was 10. Chet Holmgren and company went to work with 2 minutes left. Cavs had a 10-point lead. They was up 102-92 with about 2 minutes left. And OKC, no, they was up 100-90 with about 2 minutes left.
That's right. That's right.
And OKC ended the game on an 18-5 run. In the game,
yeah, I believe you did the post game.
Yeah.
So check out the articles at We Like Sportz PC.
And like
yep.
4 to 5 trips down, OKC hit threes.
Yeah, I remember Shea hit one, and somebody, I forget who the other cat was that.
Chet Holmgren hit one.
Chet Holmgren hit one.
Dort hit one.
Dort, it was Dort. I always made Dort. That's right. Dort.
Dort hit one.
Yeah.
Man, I think Shea might have hit 2, I think.
Yeah, I know he hit the one over Mitchell and put his arm
up. And Chet Holmgren just drove and it was like,
yeah. When you lose to a guy with last name Dort, no offense, but I mean, it's just not your night, I guess. I don't know.
But I'm going to say this about Chet Holmgren. He get a little more strength in him.
Oh, I know.
That dude going to be a problem because that dude handles the ball like a guard.
He does. Him and Wemby, I'm telling you, the NBA's turning into sticks right now.
And the thing is, I didn't see none of that when he was at Gonzaga because they had him more playing the traditional big. But OKC, that dude, man, once he gets used to the league, gets a little stronger, he's going to be a handful.
Well, tomorrow is Halloween, so we wanted to play a nice game here where I'm going to give you a couple sports topics, and you're going to tell me and tell the audience of the We Like Sportz Show, is it a trick or is it a treat? And what I'm going to do is, like, I wrote an article, like I said, check out WeLikeSportsPC.com, where I gave a couple of them. And like, for instance, I said Deshaun Watson, I said that he was a trick because $230 million for being a cheerleader and he doesn't really play. And we don't know, technically. He hasn't been a treat. I know that. And ask Jimmy Haslam, who's paid over like $91 million since they've acquired him to get the mediocre performance. And like I said, I don't want to bang on Deshaun Watson, but let's be real, Cleveland fans out there and you Watson Warriors. If you're happy with the way things have been going so far, that's fine. You can make the excuses and say he's going to be this, he's going to be that. That's fine. Maybe he's going to be that. I'm not saying he's not going to be this, but at the same time, on 10/30 of 2023, you can't be happy, and no Cleveland Browns fan can be happy with this Deshaun Watson experiment as the way that it's currently been going. And if you are, then congratulations, you like bad football.
I'll say this: he got to get healthy.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, get healthy. Okay. All right. Well, I'll give you a couple right now. So Brock Purdy, is he a trick or is he a treat? Brock Purdy.
He's starting to look like a trick now.
Yeah, that's right.
He's starting to look like a trick. Think about this. The Browns provided the blueprint. And like I said, I don't know what happened with Pittsburgh. But if anybody knows, Pittsburgh is susceptible to the run.
Yep. More
so than all the other teams in our division. And Cincinnati, they're physical. And they get up, and they got linemen that like to get up in your face too. Yeah. And when you don't have Debo Samuel, it's getting real in San Francisco now. 5-3, lost 3 straight. Got booted out my top 10. Yeah.
The Browns broke the 49ers, and everybody's copying the blueprint to do it, so they can thank us.
Got to put pressure on Brock Purdy because he likes to get the ball out. And you jam the receivers.
Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, trick or is he a treat?
I got to say, wait till next Halloween. Wait till next Halloween to when because remember, Deion told everybody back in July that he didn't have everything he needed.
Call him a treat, then. You know what? I wrote about it. He's a treat. Here's why. They're 4-4. They only won 1 game last year.
Think about this. Right. You're going to where I was about to go.
Okay.
They only won 1 game last year, and they got blew out of every game. Last year. And then think about this also. They didn't take no patsies on the schedule this year either.
No, they did not.
You got TCU.
Which they beat.
They beat. Yeah. Then Nebraska.
Yeah. Who they beat.
And they're over 500.
Yep. Hung with USC. They played UCLA this past Saturday.
And that's a rivalry game.
Yep.
really the only team that really physically took them to the woodshed, really besides
Oregon.
UCLA, was Oregon.
Yeah. And they're going to do that to a lot. They took Utah to the woodshed this past weekend. So
Yeah, exactly.
I think Oregon, honestly, I know they got the one loss to Washington, but of all the college football teams right now, I think they might be the best.
Lannon gave them that one.
Yeah, he did with his bad play call. He should have took the points. These coaches get you take the damn points. Coaches.
He should have took the points and he should have punted.
Yes. Well, yes, on that fourth. Yeah, he went for it on that fourth down, and Bo Nix didn't get it. Yep.
Yes.
Jim Harbaugh, trick or treat?
He's going to be somebody in the NFL's treat.
Yeah, that's well,
because you can say, dude is he's off center, but dude is a hell of a coach. Hey, he's a hell of a coach.
Right now, if I said right now I would replace Kevin Stefanski with Jim Harbaugh, would you be down for that move?
Hell yeah, I'll be down.
Fair enough. All right.
Because I know Jim Harbaugh would have ran that damn ball yesterday.
It fixes Ohio State's problem and it fixes the Browns' problem. I like it.
Yes.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Aaron Rodgers, trick or treat?
Right now, we'll see Aaron Rodgers next year.
Yeah. I said 4 snaps in the article.
I would say, but you know what? I say he's a treat because you know what? He's influencing Zach Wilson.
Yeah. Yeah.
The right way.
Yeah.
He has a lot of say-so on Zach Wilson. And Zach Wilson looks a lot better than he did last year at this time. And the Jets are 4-3.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I guess I'm going to reverse it real quick for the audience sake and because I like to play as well. Keith, give me a trick or treat. Do you have one? Just throw up something right now and I'll throw it, you know.
Okay. Kevin Stefanski, trick.
Why do you do that? Why did you do? Why? You want people to hate me? Okay, here's the deal. Okay, Kevin Stefanski was a treat for 99% of the game yesterday until the 3rd and 3 when he became a trick because, like you said, he can't help himself and he has to make these plays where, yes, of course, if it works, it works, and I get that. But you were running the football successfully. Kevin, run the damn ball. So I'm gonna say, it's like getting a candy bar where it's a Snickers, but it wasn't a giant size. It was one of those fun size, and it wasn't fun when you get done eating it and you want another fun size one, and you realize you don't have any more, but you have maybe Smarties left or some other cheap candy. So that's what Kevin Stefanski is. And thanks, Keith, for you know what, Keith, you just throw that out there. He's like, we'll just firebomb him with the toughest one. So I appreciate that, Keith, and that's what you get on the Locked On Sports 216 as well. So check Keith out as pre and post game.
Yes,
Keith
sir.
Never disappoints.
And also, I'm doing a new thing because I'm actually going to post it in an article too on We Like Sportz. And every Wednesday, I'm going to post my top 10 NFL teams. It'll be the Locked On Sports 216 Hot 10 of the top 10 NFL teams. And it's going to be some maneuvering this week.
Oh. Is there a new number one or is it the same?
It's the new number one.
Oh.
And somebody is getting the boot out to 10.
I love that. I love you know what? When you get the boot from Keith Allen, he may bring you back the next week, but that's on you to come back.
And you're going to have a new member in the top 10.
Wow. Let me guess. And I hate to say this, but the Bengals are moving up dramatically.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yes, they are.
That's fair.
Yes, they are. I gotta respect the game with them.
They've got fair enough.
I gotta respect the game with the Bengals.
Well,
and another team, the San Francisco Treat, is moving out.
Ooh, pack your shit and get out. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they're moving out. They might move out to 11 or 12.
It's like that. It's like that movie Waiting to Exhale when she's Angela Bassett's burning the stuff and the fire marshal comes and it's like it is trash. She's like, "Ma'am, you're burning your trash." He's like, "You know you're burning your trash." She's like, "It is trash."
It is trash.
So I always like that. But Keith, I want to thank you. This is a fun pack and at times very fast and chaotic. We like sports because we had our guest Ashton Nix on talking Rangers.
Shout out to Ashton.
Yeah, shout out to Ashton. Great
and
guest right there.
Good luck to the Rangers tonight.
Good luck. Yes, good luck.
I'm American League all the way.
All the way.
Even though I only rode with 2 in the American League.
Would you root for the Red Sox though?
Hell no.
That's right. Yeah. All right.
No, hell. Red Sox can eat.
Eat chowder. They can eat chowder. They can eat.
Yes. They can eat chowder and go.
Fair enough.
It was wonderful to see them in last place in the AL East.
As a Guardians fan, I would agree with that sentiment. But Keith, any last shout outs before we head out of here?
All I'm gonna say is Andrew Barry, Mr. D Podesta, and Jimmy, get on your job. Get a quarterback in here, or get a quarterback. You got to get a quarterback because, to be honest, Ed, we don't know what our receivers can do for real. For real,
that's true.
We don't because we ain't got nobody that can get them the ball. We don't.
Well, okay. Well, that's
And I was saying, and I ain't gonna lie, I said maybe you start DTR against Arizona, but I'm gonna be honest, they need this game, so they need a quarterback.
Yeah.
Because think about this, Ed, and I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Okay.
This game against Arizona is the biggest game of the year.
Absolutely, it's a must win. It's a must win.
Must win. Because could you imagine if they lose?
Oh, I'll tell you what, it'd be fun though. Cleveland Sports Radio, Cleveland, these podcasts, that definitely would be on fire.
If they lose to Arizona and Josh Dobbs has a career game.
Oh, I forgot about the Josh Dobbs fact. That's right, coming back to Cleveland. Oh.
And the thing is, with the Browns defense, they have been susceptible to chunk plays.
Yes. One thing the Buckeyes don't do. Yeah.
And the one thing Arizona has is Marquise Brown.
Yeah, Hollywood.
And you don't really know how Newsome is going to be.
Well, I'll tell everybody out there to check out the Locked On Sports 216 pregame show because we'll get you set up for that.
Coming on at 12 o'clock next Sunday. Yes, sir.
High noon on Sunday.
High noon. Because think about this: if they lose that game and they're 4-4 heading into Baltimore, this season can go off the rails.
And then they got Pittsburgh the following week, I think.
The following week. Dude.
Well, we're gonna try to stay positive and hopefully
we can easily be 4-6. Because the one thing I will say this about Pittsburgh, and they are deplorable, but they will not beat themselves.
Nope.
They will not beat themselves. Baltimore will not beat them. They might have a game or two, which I think might be that time that you'd be like, how the fuck did they lose this game? Hopefully it'll be to the Browns the week after.
Right. That would be advantageous.
The Browns have to win. This is a big game and do you really feel confident with PJ Walker?
I plead the fifth.
I'll plead the fifth. In 3 games, 2 turnovers in San Francisco. 2 turnovers in Indianapolis.
You're doing it again, Keith. You're talking. You're giving me reality, and it hurts.
And 3 turnovers yesterday.
That's spooky.
Do you really have faith?
You know what? If there's a vampire, I give him the sign of the cross, and hopefully the faith
honestly, because I'm telling you, Arizona is due for a victory.
Well, it's not happening this week, Keith, and I
hope not. I said that yesterday during the pregame show. I said, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I said the game's going to be close.
Yeah.
But I said the Browns' luck going to run out in Seattle.
Well, we were definitely.
But I said I hope I was wrong. And damn it, I wasn't, unfortunately.
Well, you're going to be right this week because I think you're going to pick the Browns to win in a close game.
Yeah, I'm going to still pick the Browns to win. But I would, if I was a betting dude, I let Arizona get the points. I take Arizona in the points.
Well, we'll have to see what the spread is. I'm sure it's probably 3 or less. I would assume
it's 4.5.
Oh, it is 4.5. Okay, well, that kind of
4.5 starting off.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens as the week transpires in Berea here.
I'm telling you, and against PJ Walker, but he's a turnover machine. I hate to say it like that.
He's like Jimmy Walker, dynamite, one way or the other.
He's a turnover. And it's sad because actually, if you look at yesterday, that was his best performance as a Brown.
All right. Well, that's why they have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday to hopefully figure things out. But I want to thank our audience for tuning into the We Like Sportz Show because we had a fun, yes, Keith.
And they can't keep losing the turnover. They can't keep turning the ball over.
17 this year.
This team has turned 17 and the quarterback's got 14.
Well, I'll tell you one thing.
That's the recipe. Our running backs are not fumbling.
No. Well, they're not getting the ball.
Our running backs only had one fumble all year, and that was the first game when Ford fumbled in the red zone against Cincinnati. Now, you know this, that if I can remember when they fumbled. Njoku fumbled against Pittsburgh. Yep. And Elijah Moore, if I'm not mistaken, fumbled against Tennessee.
That's correct.
And the rest of the fumbles and interceptions or whatnot has been on our damn quarterbacks.
Andrew Berry, make a phone call. If not for the Browns, say do it for
Berry,
Keith Allen.
Get this shit together. You, as far as I'm concerned, he's on watch. The Podesta's on watch. And Jimmy. Jimmy, you went all in and got Dame Lillard for Milwaukee. Goddamn. Get your other NBA owner somebody on offense.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you.
Because I'm telling you, if this team lose to Arizona this Sunday coming up, it will be the beginning of the end of this football season.
Well, that's not going to happen. And like I said, we're going to stay positive. But I want to say this also, too. It's trick or treat tomorrow. Happy Halloween to everybody. May your little ghosts and goblins get all the candy that, that they desire.
Everybody be safe on Halloween.
Brush your teeth as well. Brush your teeth.
Yes.
And, you'll be
Check all your kids' candy that they collect during Halloween. And if you out there, adults, trick-or-treating, check your stuff before you treat to eat.
That's correct. Ooh, fair enough. But
words from the Triad Committee.
There you go. Thank you for that public service announcement from the Triad Committee.
Yes,
and check us out next Monday at 5:30. We'll, like I said, we'll have we'll go around the NFL Week 9, and we'll probably talk some World Series, and maybe Ashton Nix will be back on, and we'll be celebrating a Rangers World Series victory. So, until then, everybody, happy Halloween, enjoy sports, and we like sports, and we're glad you tuned in. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in, and we out. Peace.